What are the questions that insurance companies and adjusters don't want you to ask? What don't they want you to know? And what can you do when you're dealing with them? I'm Tom Graham, this is Eric Mausner, and we discuss issues in personal injury litigation. Today we're going to discuss an insider's view into what the adjusters are trying to hold back and what you should do if you're negotiating or talking about your claim with them.
Well, I think the starting point with any claim is you have to know how much the insurance limits are. So I think if the average person might not know to ask or think about this, often the average person doesn't even know what kind of insurance to buy. But if you're going to handle a claim without an attorney, you should know how much bodily injury or uninsured motorist limits there are before you start negotiating with the adjuster.
Exactly, and I mean, even if there's an umbrella, you don't want to settle your case if you don't know what the available limits are. The interesting thing I think in Florida that the attorneys will do for you if you hire one is we'll send out a very specific letter, and under the law, they are supposed to and they're legally required to tell us the limits within 30 days.
Yeah, and that's actually unique to Florida. There's a lot of states that don't disclose the limits. So lawyers or lay people proceed with their claims and they don't know the limits. But Florida's a state where you can get that information. There are some states where the adjusters don't want you to know the information and they won't release it. And it's kind of a hide the ball game that the insurance company plays. And you're not going to find out the limits maybe till deep into litigation. It's a very unusual thing and certain states permit this, but it gives the insurance company the advantage, right? If you don't know what the limits are, then you don't really know what to ask for. And it could affect the entire value of the case. It could affect treatment. It could affect preparation, legal strategy, a lot of things.
Exactly. I think it's really unfair. I'm actually, as you know, studying for the California bar, and they're one of those states. You have to file the lawsuit before they'll tell you the limits. I think it's kind of a dumb move on behalf of the insurance companies, but if you're trying to do your own claim, they will not want you to know because that's a way for them to peg you down, and that's a way for them to get you to accept less when potentially you could get a lot more. Number two, who has authority to actually settle the claim? So in our law firm, I typically handle litigation. I'll deal with a defense attorney, and beneath them there will be an adjuster that might be setting what's called the authority, and then they might have a supervisor they have to go to get additional authority. And for our listeners, authority means the level of money that the defense or the adjuster is authorized to pay, so what their green light is. And I can tell you one thing, they always want to save a little bit. They don't want to pay the max of their authority. They want to look good and save a little bit off of that, especially the defense attorneys.
Yeah, I think so. It's important to know. So let's say the insurance limits are $100,000. The adjuster may have authority from their company, from the committee, or their supervisor is going to set their authority at $50,000. So if you can get them to that $50,000, they may then have to go to a supervisor to get to 60, 70, or even to the full policy limits. So it's important to know who you're dealing with at the insurance company, and do they have authority to write the check? Do they have authority to settle the case? Do they have authority to get more money for you?
Number three, what are the reserves in my cases? What are the settlement reserves that the insurance company has set?
Yeah, and I think this is really where it's important to hire a lawyer, because once you start negotiating with the insurance company, they're going to set limits on the case or reserves. So what you ask for can typically be what the reserve is. That doesn't mean you're going to get it. That doesn't mean there's authority for it. But you're signaling to the insurance company how much you want, how much you think the case is valued for. So the insurance company can adjust its reserves up and down on your case, but it's something that you want to be conscious of at the beginning of your lawsuit or your claim.
Yeah, I think it's a very important consideration, especially how you present your claim and how you support it early on can affect that. And once that's in writing, it might be really hard to get someone to move off of that.
Yeah, if you're negotiating with an insurance company and you start throwing numbers around, those numbers are stuck with you forever. And it's going to be very, very hard to get the insurance company to go above those numbers. And that's with or without a lawyer. This is negotiation 101.
Totally.
So number four, an important tip with the insurance companies, you're not going to know what someone else received for similar injuries. You're not going to know what the insurance company paid out for previous past claims and lawsuits. So it's very possible someone has the same injury, but they received more money or less money than you're going to receive. And this is something that a layperson would never know. This is a reason why you would hire a lawyer, because we have access to former lawsuits, prior lawsuits, other claims, and we can look up the valuation of these injuries in your particular area and state.
Totally. And I think that you're absolutely right on that. And I also think part of that is the reason the insurance companies and the adjusters and the defense firms fight so hard to keep every settlement confidential, because they don't want that out there, and that's another way for them to peg you down. But with our track record, we can basically estimate what is a quality settlement and what is a just settlement in every case we do.
Yeah, this is just another opportunity for the insurance company to play hide the ball.
Number 5, what might a jury do? What might a jury award? So when you're negotiating with an insurance company, adjuster, defense attorney, they're probably thinking, what is a reasonable settlement? Now, a settlement is paid outside of court. A jury award is very different. That's after you go to trial, you prevail, and you ask a jury of your peers to give you an award. Usually, they would never want to pay what would be considered a reasonable jury award. They want a settlement value, which can be significantly less than a jury award, which is why I think it's important to hire an attorney that is willing and knows how to take your case to trial.
And to add one thing, everyone always asks, what about pain and suffering? What about mental anguish? The insurance company at the claim stage typically does not care about those non-economic damages. You need to go into litigation and prove those up during your case with your lawyer. The insurance company likes to look at the past economics and any wage loss. They like to look at the hard numbers valuing your claim, and that's typically going to be insufficient when you look at all the damages that you're suffering from.
Exactly. So I know oftentimes we'll talk to adjusters and they'll say, well, the way we look at this is 3 times the medical is the best you could do. So let's say you had $10,000 in medical bills. The most they ever think you could get is 30 grand. And they have this formula that probably was developed in the 1960s, and that's what they're sticking to. But things have changed. We don't believe in that. And I think it's unfair. It kind of upsets me to have that conversation. Number 6, the availability of information and what you can obtain from an insurance adjuster if you're trying to handle your own claim. I would say it's going to be exceedingly difficult for you to get available information from an insurance adjuster. Let's say there's a video out there that shows your fall or a video that shows the collision. They're not going to give you that. The only way maybe there's a little chance they'll give it to you is if it's bad for you. Otherwise, they're going to keep holding on to that thing, and you're going to need basically to fight them tooth and nail to give it up at some later point. And I can tell you, we litigate a lot of these cases. Oftentimes, they won't even give us the video voluntarily in litigation. They'll make us go and get an order from the judge to get, I'm talking about CCTV, claiming that if they give it early, the plaintiff's going to try to change their story. And a lot of the judges now reject that argument, but it just shows you they're not really out there, in my opinion, acting in your best interest or wanting to be fair and put everything out in the light. They're trying to hold it back, and they're doing that to save money.
The only time I've seen the adjusters give us the videos when it hurts the case for the client. It shows the client's at fault. Client tripped over their own feet. Client caused the car accident. That's when they're going to show you the video to get you to go away. And number 7, bad facts for your case. When you're talking to an insurance company, you don't want to reveal bad facts about your case. You don't want to reveal anything that even can be misconstrued as a bad fact about your case. I always tell clients, and our law firm tells clients, don't speak to the insurance companies. Criminal defense lawyers tell their clients, don't speak to the cops. Personal injury lawyers tell their clients, don't speak to the insurance companies. Don't give a statement. Anything you say to that insurance company will be used against you in your claim or eventually maybe in your lawsuit. And we advise clients, don't give sworn, recorded statements to the insurance company. It's not necessary. Nothing good will come from it. They can take your deposition in litigation. They want to hear your side of the story. Thanks for visiting our channel. We'll be putting out videos from time to time, discussing cases, discussing insider information, other tips and tricks regarding personal injury law. We hope to see you soon.